Bellsprout, let's go! Alright, so we're going to start with a circle, then add some more circles. Once you get that done, we're going to add some leaves, and then start with the ink. We're going to get the ink looking nice and clean, and then start adding our lettering. And once we get all the lettering done, we're going to add our color, and then woo! We're done. Mimikyu, let's go! Alright, so we're going to start with a circle and then make it thick. Then we're going to get the details down and add some ears. We're going to put a bean body on, start adding more details, and then once we get that ready, we're going to start with the ink. As we get Mimikyu looking clean and nice, we're going to start with our lettering, add the rest of our color in, and boom! We're done. Sandy boy, let's go! Alright, so I'm going to start with some blobs, and we're going to add some beans. Once we get this looking clean, we're going to add some eyes and a shovel, and then start with the ink. Once we get to this ink down looking nice, we're going to start with our confusion and lettering. After that, we're going to add a little bit of color, and then woo! We're done. Morpeko, let's go! Alright, so we're going to start with a circle and make it look like a bean. Then we're going to add some more beans and start with details. We're going to add some eyes and then put on the ink. As we get this looking clean and nice, we're going to put on some lettering. And once we get the lettering done, we're going to add our color and then boom, we're done. Robo boy, let's go! Alright, so we're going to start with the bean hat. After that, we're going to add some details, add its eyes, and then start working on the body. Once we get that down looking nice, we're going to add the ink. Once we get this done with the details looking clean, we're going to add a little bit of color and then start with our lettering. After we get this lettering down right, beep boop, we're done. Marshadow, let's go! Alright, so I'm going to start with a circle and a bean, and I'm going to keep working on that. After that, I'm going to add some more beans and start working on its face. Once I get the face looking nice and clean, I'm going to go ahead and start with the ink. As we get this ink looking all good, I'm going to add some color, finish up with the lettering, and then boom, we're done. Espeon, let's go! Alright, so I'm going to start with a circle and a bean. Then we're going to start adding some little feet, add some big ears, and add some big eyes. Once we get all that done with details, we're going to start with the ink. Make sure that the ink's looking clean and nice, and after we get that, we're going to put on our lettering. And once the lettering's done, we're going to throw some color on real quick, and then boom, we're done. Panpour, let's go! Alright, so we're going to start with some beans and make it look beanie. After that, we're going to start working on the face with all its details and make sure it looks nice. Once we get that done, we're going to add a bean body and start with the ink. As we get this ink looking clean and nice, we're going to add some lettering, then throw on the color, and yeah, we're done. Umbreon, let's go! Alright, so we're going to start with a circle and a bean body. Then we're going to add some more beans to make sure it looks nice and good. After that, we're going to start with our ink. Once we get the ink looking nice and clean, we're going to go ahead and start with our color, put on some lettering, and then bang, we're done. Foongus, let's go! Alright, so I'm going to start with this half circle thingy that's going to take forever because it's weird. After that, we're going to start putting on a bean body and start adding in some of the details. Once we get those details down, we're going to start with the ink. Make sure that it's looking nice and clean, put our lettering on, and as we get the lettering finished up, we're going to put color on, and yeah, we're done. Pansear, let's go! Alright, so we're going to start with a bean and add some more beans. Then we're going to start putting this giant fluffy thing on it. After that, we're going to add a bean body and add in some details. Once the details are done, we're going to start with the ink. As we get the ink down looking nice and clean, we're going to go ahead and start putting on our color. We're going to finish up with some lettering, and blammo, we're done. Wailmer, let's go! Alright, so I'm going to start with a circle and then start adding more circles. Then we're going to start adding some details and then adding fins and a big tongue. Now we're going to start with the ink, make sure that it looks nice and clean, throw on our color, spend a bunch of time on the lettering because I don't know how to spell, and once we're done with that, splash, we're done. Dratini, let's go! Alright, so we're going to start with a circle and a bean. Then we're going to add some more beans and circles. Once we get those details in, we're going to start with the ink. Make sure that it's looking nice and clean. After that, we're going to put in our lettering. And once we get that done, throw the color on. Boom! We're done. Jigglypuff, let's go! Alright, so we're going to start with a circle and more circles. Start adding in the details, make sure it looks nice. Then we're going to start with the ink, make sure it's clean, and then put our color on. After that, we're going to spend a bunch of time on the lettering because I don't know how to spell, but that's alright. Once we get all that done, boom, we're done. Mudkip, let's go! Alright, so we're starting with a circle and a bean body. After that, we're going to add some details, make sure it looks cute. Once we get that done, we're going to start with the ink. Make sure it's looking nice and clean. After that, throw our color on, put on some lettering, and then bam, we're done. Komala, let's go! so we're gonna start with a circle and the bean body, add another big bean, and then start with some details. Once we get that done, we're gonna go ahead and start with the ink. Make sure it looks nice and clean, and after we get all that looking good, we're gonna add some lettering. Once we get the lettering down, we're gonna go ahead and put some color on, and then bam, we're done. Sableye, let's go! Alright, so we're gonna start with the head, make sure it looks nice and cute. Once we get that down, we're gonna add a bean body. After we get that down, we're gonna add some details and go ahead and start with the ink. Once we get the ink looking nice and clean, we're gonna add some lettering, and then after that, throw the color on. Woo! We're done. Totodile, let's go! Alright, so I'm gonna start with a circle and then put a bean on its face. Then we're gonna keep making sure that that's nice and then add some details with a bean body. Once we get that all done, we're gonna go ahead and start with the ink. Make sure that Totodile is looking clean and nice, and after that, we're gonna put our lettering on, go ahead and throw on the color, and boom, we're done. Appleton, let's go! Alright, so I'm going to start with a big circle and then add more circles. After that, we're going to add some details, give it some thick legs, and then go ahead and start with the ink. Once we get the ink down looking nice and clean, we're going to go ahead and throw on the color. After that, we're going to put our lettering on, and then boom, we're done. Mareep, let's go! Alright, so I'm going to start with a big bean and add some more details. And once we get those details down looking nice, we're going to add a fluffy body and add some more details. Then start with the ink. As we get the ink looking nice and clean, we're going to go ahead and add our lettering in. And once we get that done, we're going to throw our color on, and then woo, we're done.